Chris Berry talking about Lesson 7, the Keep in Touch strategy. So this really gets broken down into 4 pieces. First, using some type of system, typically a CRM system, to collect and connect with our contacts. Second, using the 80-20 rule to deliver that content. Third, we're going to select the best tools, the best methods to deliver that content. And then last, we're going to talk about just the need of staying in contact with a newsletter. So first, we have collection. So this is where most people fail, is they kind of suck at collecting the data, collecting the names. Whenever you go to a networking event, are you collecting business cards? And then most people do, but then what happens with those business cards? Do they all go into one tool, one system? And then if you do collect them into that system, are they segmented or segregated at all? So do you know the difference between a good referral source, bad referral source, potential client and referral source? Do you have your referral sources broken down based on categories? So if you're an elder law attorney, then maybe you want to have one list of home care providers and then one list of financial planners, because the information that you would then share with each group might be slightly different. Collection, it's important to have a system in place. And then once you've collected all this information and segmented it properly, the next step is then connection. So you might have a list of names, but then what do you do to stay in front of them, to connect with them? And the key is to be authentic and be comfortable and attractive in your connections. So you want to come across as a real person. Just sending some type of kind of templated letter that's not personal probably isn't the best way to build connections. That's just going to be noise. So a question a lot of people always have with keep in touch strategy is what type of CRM to use, what tool to actually use. And there's a ton of different software programs out there, both cloud as well as non-cloud, or even just using a paper system. I've heard of people just getting a 3-ring binder and basically creating a page for each of these people. But the key is to choose a tool that you use and that you feel comfortable with and stick to it. For example, I'm a big fan of Infusionsoft, which allows you to do some things, some internet marketing, as well as just your typical CRM. But the key is to find something and stick with it, because one of the big issues is if you're going to look at changing a CRM program, then sometimes you're going to have some exporting or importing of data issues, and you're going to lose some of that data that you've collected. Next is, what are you going to share with these people once you have collected their names, once you have a CRM system in place? How are you going to share? And the recommendation is that you use the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time you're going to share information that's helpful, maybe personal, something that they're definitely going to be interested in. And then the other 20% might be offers. So looking at the previous lesson, it's important that we have our sales offers in place. The important point here is that everything must be relevant. So we talk about in the book Your Self-Solid System that marketing really is a synonym for being relevant. So you don't want to be make offers that are inappropriate. You don't want to share things that you may find helpful that really are not relevant to the people, and that's why having a segmented list is vitally important. And feel comfortable with connecting and sharing content as well as offers, because if these people are kind of your ideal clients or your ideal referral sources, then they're going to want to hear from you, because people express their values by what they buy. So if your values are in line with the people that you're communicating with, then everything should go smoothly. And that phrase that people express their values by what they buy may sound foreign, but if you think about it, if you were to look at someone's credit card slips or credit card payments over the past month, and if they have trips out to Vegas and deliveries of gallons of vodka to their front door, that's going to look very different than someone who invests in education, someone who invests in self-development if they're buying a lot of books. So whatever that people buy is one of the ways that they express their value. So when you're communicating with these people, it's important to have some type of kind of system in place in terms of constantly being in front of them. So a lot of people use announcements or newsletters. The thing to keep in mind with this is, just like all other communications, it must be relevant. So not all announcements are. For example, if you were making an announcement that you hired a new staff, most people really don't care. Now, if you were to be able to personalize it and talk about how it's important to the people on your list, then that might be a different story. But if the announcement, for example, if you're an attorney and you're announcing some change in law that's going to affect your clients, well, that's going to be an announcement that's going to be very relevant. So with everything that we do, it's important to be relevant. And then also, just like everything we do in the Book Yourself Solid system, it's important to be have your personal brand, to be bold, authentic, and memorable, to be personal. And in fact, the more personal, the more opinionated you are, generally those are the more memorable communications. So if you're bland and it's just some pre-generated content, that's not going to be very personal, that's not going to be very memorable. So again, our keep in touch strategy is to use some type of CRM system to collect and connect with the people in your network, to use the 80-20 rule, to share 80% of the time, 20% offers, to then deliver content that is using the best tools and that is relevant. And a recommendation is to use some type of announcement or newsletter that is both personal and relevant. And that is Lesson 7, Keep in Touch Strategy. Chris Berry signing off.